Beryl Gardinant sees himself as just a chill, washed-up old sword guy running a quiet dojo in the middle of nowhere. His big dreams of becoming a legendary swordsman? Yeah, long gone. Or so he thought. Out of the blue, one of his ex-students who just so happens to be kind of a big deal drops by with some shocking news. Beryl's been tapped to teach the freaking knights of the Liberian Order. Suddenly, this humble old man is heading to the capital, where he's reunited with his all-grown-up students, now elite knights, top-tier wizards, and adventurers who've basically broken the level cap. Looks like retirement's gonna have to wait. Beryl is your classic middle-aged sword guy, quiet, rugged, running a family dojo in the middle of nowhere like it's feudal times. He's been teaching swordsmanship for years, but romance? Yeah, that's been less of a priority. One day, while he's swinging swords and minding his business, his old man suddenly hits him with the ultimate parental guilt trip, "I want grandkids." Beryl tries to explain he's been a bit too busy keeping the family dojo alive to think about love. His dad, though, totally not hearing it. He even suggests that Beryl wife up one of his students, to which Beryl says a firm no thanks, because, ethics. Backstory time: Beryl once dreamed of being a legendary swordmaster, the kind bards write ballads about. While he didn't quite hit that level in his opinion, he's still proud of how many of his students went on to become big-time adventurers and knights. So, after training, he sits down for dinner with his parents, only to get another helping of get married already from dad. His mom's more chill, but still dropping not-so-subtle hints about babies. Beryl's just trying to eat in peace, until someone knocks on the door. It's Allucia Citrus, one of his most promising former students, who just so happens to be the commander of the Royal Knight Order now. No big deal. She's here with good news: Beryl's been handpicked as a special sword instructor for the knights. And, oh yeah, it's an imperial order. Beryl's not really feeling it, but apparently saying no might come with severe consequences, aka possible execution. Not ideal. His dad is hyped and practically pushing him into the carriage, even joking that Elucia would make a great wife. Beryl dies a little inside from secondhand embarrassment. Elucia? She just mumbles something that might have been an agreement. On the ride to the capital, Beryl notices she's still rocking the sword he gave her when she graduated. He's touched, but also kinda embarrassed, because he doesn't think it's worthy of a big-shot knight commander. Elucia insists it's perfect, which is sweet. As they chat, she casually mentions that Beryl's kinda famous in sword circles. Apparently, all his students going on to do amazing stuff made him a legend and earned him the nickname Hillbilly Swordmaster. Beryl isn't thrilled. The capital is as overwhelming as you'd expect for a countryside guy. Elucia sets Beryl up at a fancy inn, but it's a bit too fancy for him, so he starts house hunting. Elucia offers her place wink-wink, but Beryl politely declines. On their way to lunch, they run into Serena, another one of Beryl's old students, now a black rank adventurer. She's thrilled to see her master again, and not thrilled to see Elucia. The two immediately start bickering over who gets to help Beryl find a place. Beryl just wants one normal day. Eventually, he picks a modest inn with their help and begs them to stop fighting before his ears fall off. Back at training, Elucia shocks everyone by announcing Beryl is starting today. Not everyone's happy, especially Hamlet's, the vice commander. He challenges Beryl to a duel to see if he's the real deal. Beryl's not excited, but hey, gotta protect the rep of his most enthusiastic hype girl. During the duel, Beryl deflects Hamlet's attacks like a pro, then pulls off a ninja-level dodge and ends up behind him, sword to his neck. Match 1. Respect earned. Hamlet is so impressed, he throws a party in Beryl's honor. It's been a week since Beryl joined the Knight's Order as an instructor, and the man's already a legend around here. One afternoon, he strolls over while two knights are sparring and casually drops a bit of advice, something about how focusing too much on your opponent's sword lets them sneak in closer than you'd think. Half a step can be the difference between winning and losing, he says. Pretty standard wisdom, or so Beryl thinks. But the knights, you'd think he just spit the hottest verse in rap history. Ever since that showdown with Hembelitz, every word out of Beryl's mouth is treated like sacred scripture. Not that Beryl's complaining, it's made training sessions a breeze. Once the day's sword swinging is done, Beryl wipes the sweat off his brow with a towel Hembelitz hands him. Just as he's about to kick back and relax, Karuni shows up and asks if he's got plans. Spoiler, he doesn't. So she offers to show him around town. Beryl realizes he hasn't actually seen much of ball train yet, so why not? Karuni dashes off to change, clearly way more excited about this than she lets on. Meanwhile, Elucia's stuck in a royal meeting. giving the officials the lowdown on the knight's current state and especially on their newest instructor. She assures them Beryl is crushing it. What the officials don't know is that the only reason Allucia took on the bureaucratic mess of being knight commander was so she'd have the power to drag Beryl out of his quiet little village and into the spotlight. She'd trained under Beryl when she was just a kid, and even back then, she knew he was something special. Beryl had her jumping tree stumps, swinging swords until her arms were jelly, and doing all sorts of unorthodox stuff, but it worked. She felt more at home with a sword in hand than anything else. One day, little Elucia had her first sparring match with Beryl, and let's just say she found zero openings. She figured all instructors must be that good until they had a mock battle with another dojo. Her opponent? A guy who attacked like a headless chicken. Elucia wiped the floor with him in record time. On the way home, she asked Beryl if their dojo was just better than everyone else's. Beryl, being Beryl, told her not to worry about wins and losses, just focus on what you learn. Of course, in classic Beryl fashion, he stayed humble. Then her hairpin went missing. Super sentimental, couldn't just leave it. So she ran back to the other dojo to look for it only to find the same sore loser from before holding it hostage. He and his buddies challenged her to fight all of them at once. She could probably take them, but she knew Beryl wouldn't want her using her skills like that. Just as the jerk swung at her, Beryl swooped in like a sword-wielding superhero and took the hit. Didn't even flinch. Then he calmly disarmed the punk and parried the rest like he was swatting flies until the dojo master stepped in. Mortified by his student's behavior, years flew by, and Elucia got strong like score, a point on Beryl strong. He even gave her a ceremonial sword and told her she was ready to move on. Elucia didn't want to leave, but she knew Beryl would never chase glory himself. So she made it her mission to prove just how awesome he was. She climbed the ranks, crushed the entrance exam, and eventually earned her role as knight commander, all to give Beryl the spotlight he never asked for. Back in the present, she checks in with Hembelitz to see how training went, and he's basically glowing. But when she asks where Beryl is, he tells her that Karuni took him out to see the town. Yep, Karuni just casually scored a date with Beryl, and Elucia is not thrilled about it. While Karuni gives Beryl the local tour, they run into a girl who calls him Master. Beryl's confused until he realizes it's Facile, one of his old students. She's all grown up now, and somehow the ace of the magic corps. Beryl's shocked he never taught her magic, but she shows off a magic accessory that lets anyone use spells. When a thief snatches a purse nearby, Facile handles it like a pro with a flashy magic sword slash. Beryl's blown away. The next morning, Beryl goes on a walk and runs into a tiny girl claiming to be the head of the magic corps. He thinks she's just playing make-believe until she fires off a massive fireball like it's nothing. Her name's Lucy, and she's actually way older than she looks. She drags Beryl to a practice field, eager to fight the legendary Swordmaster. Before Beryl can politely decline, she launches a fire blast straight at him. Welp, guess we're doing this. Lucy wasn't playing around. She kicked things off by lobbing a massive fireball straight at Beryl's head. Beryl, being Beryl, dodged like a pro and zipped around the battlefield like a squirrel. She kept the fireballs coming, but he slipped, dipped, and parried every single one like he'd trained with dragons or something. Realizing fire wasn't cutting it, Lucy switched gears and tossed 3 giant ice balls his way. Beryl barely blinked before slicing them all in half with a single swing. The guy's reflexes were ridiculous. Lucy, now genuinely hyped for the fight, was all in. But Beryl, he was trying to end things quickly and cleanly, no magic. No fireballs, just a simple KO with the hilt of his sword. He charged in, but Lucy lit herself on fire and forced him to back off before he could land a hit. She knew if he got close, it was lights out. Beryl, meanwhile, was mentally screaming about how unfair it was to fight a wizard with nothing but a sword. But Lucy, she was only getting warmed up. She summoned a bunch of fireballs behind him, turning the whole place into a magical minefield. Beryl was sprinting around like a headless chicken, completely winging it since, hey, this was his first wizard duel. Eventually, the barrage stopped, and he thought maybe, just maybe, it was over. Nope. Lucy dropped a colossal ice ball from above. Beryl barely managed to knock it away, but Lucy casually melted it mid-air with more fire magic. The resulting mist clouded everything, and Beryl tried to use the opportunity to sneak in a hit, but surprise, Lucy zapped him with lightning. Neither of them had landed a solid blow yet, and Lucy was getting annoyed. She'd hoped to wrap things up with the basic stuff, but Beryl's stubborn survival made her bust out her big move, a black hole. Yep, she actually summoned a swirling mass of magical doom. Barl froze, instincts screaming that getting near that thing would end very badly. But instead of attacking, Lucy just gave up. She dispelled the black hole, apologized for going overboard, and called it a day. Barl nearly collapsed from relief. When he asked what would have happened if she had fired it, Lucy casually mentioned it would have shredded him into magical confetti. No big deal. Still, she was impressed most people faint just seeing that spell. She promised to make it up to him and told him to swing by the Magic Institute later. Later that day, Barl was back to his usual gig training students when he ran into Feichel, who handed him a high-end healing potion and told him it was a peace offering from Lucy. Barl still couldn't wrap his head around how someone who looked like a kid could nuke an entire battlefield. Feichel explained Lucy uses magic to keep herself looking young, so her actual age. Big mystery. Still, most wizards would have run out of mana halfway through what Lucy did. She's in a league of her own. Then Elucia popped in with news. The Adventurers Guild wanted Barl to help train new recruits for their first dungeon dive. He wasn't thrilled his own adventuring career had ended in a beatdown on day one, but they insisted he was perfect for the job. Off to the guild they went. At the guild, surprise, Lucy was already chilling on the couch, waiting to see him again. Nidus, the guildmaster, gave Barl a warm welcome, but before things got official, Megan, the guild assistant, raised a concern. Since Barl had never actually been an adventurer, how could he teach them? Barl silently thanked the guy, thinking this might be his ticket out. But that backfired fast. Lucy and Serena got mad. To prove Barl's worth, Megan suggested a duel with Serena, one of the top-ranked adventurers. Serena, it turns out, was Barl's former student from way back, and she was ecstatic to fight her old teacher. Long story short, she'd been a scared kid saved by Barl after losing her family, and he raised and trained her like a big brother. Their duel was epic. Serena came in blazing with a crazy fast sword combo, but Barl parried and dodged everything with calm precision. He spotted a flaw in her form and disarmed her in one slick move, winning the match. Everyone cheered, Megan apologized, and Barl officially got the job. The next day, Barl and Serena led the rookie adventurers Pora, Nidri, and Sarikatz into a dungeon. The kids handled the goblins like champs, and everything seemed chill. Until it wasn't. Just as they were wrapping up, Sarikatz's magic watch exploded from detecting something insanely powerful. Before anyone could react, Pora got grabbed by a monster so deadly it made elite adventurers pee their pants. His life hung by a thread, and now Barl and Serena had to step up and fight a nightmare-level beast to save the day. Barl really regrets tagging along on this mission. Seriously, what was he thinking? But hey, at least Serena's here, and she's a black rank adventurer, which basically means she can wrestle dragons before breakfast. So while she goes to deal with the big bad griffin, Barl figures he'll go help poor Pansa. He even reaches out for a healing potion like, help a guy out, but nope. Serena snatches it up and announces she's going to help Pansa. Before Barl can say, wait, what? The griffin decides now's the perfect time to pounce. Barl rolls out of the way just in time and realizes, well, he's in this now. The griffin's claws come flying at him, but Barl blocks and dodges like a total pro, then sees an opening and slashes at its legs. The griffin's legs are basically made of magical stone. So now Barl's stuck on defense, buying time so Serena can get the trainees to safety. But then, rookie move, he glances back to check on her, drops his guard, and bam, gets a nasty cut for his trouble. He manages to block most of it, but he's bleeding and out of ideas. Normally, Barl would just go for the head. That's his go-to move. But this griffin breathes fire, and Barl isn't too keen on becoming barbecue, so he tries to sneak in from the side, only for the griffin to whip around and smack him with its tail. Rude. Barl's not having it, though he slices that sucker clean off. Unfortunately, now the griffin is furious, and it launches a massive fireball his way. He leaps back just in time, but the griffin goes full berserker mode and slams into him headfirst. It hurts, sure, but Barl's still standing. Then, things go from bad to really bad. The griffin takes off into the sky with Barl clinging to its back like a stubborn tick. He knows if he falls, it's over, so he hangs on for dear life while the griffin throws a tantrum midair. Eventually, it slams back down to the ground, and Barl jumps off, hoping that was the worst of it. Nope, the griffin's not done now. It's turning the ground into lava. Actual, glowing, skin-melting lava. Barl's stuck on a rock, and the heat is creeping into the cave where the kids are hiding. He hears them screaming and thinks, nope, not today. So he bolts across the lava, his boots barely holding up, dodging fireballs and trying not to die. He manages to get close enough and, in a moment of pure, desperate brilliance, launches himself off an explosion and stabs the griffin in the eye. It screeches and throws him like a rag doll, but hey, it's blind now. Bad news. Barl's sword is stuck in its eyeball, and he's unarmed. The griffin's about to unleash flaming hell on him when bam, something distracts it. It looks up just in time to catch Sharina diving off a cliff like an avenging angel, dual blades out, screaming death. She slams into it, takes it down, and slices its neck clean open. One-shot KO. Barl's sword still in its eye, and Sharina runs over, apologizing for not helping earlier. Barl brushes it off. He's just glad the kids are safe. Speaking of which, the trainees stumble out of the cave, sweaty but alive. They return to the guild, tell the tale, and the guild master just about falls out of his chair. Sharina brags about Barl saving the day, and Barl tries to credit Sharina, but she's already ghosted the conversation. The guild master is so impressed, he asks Barl to become a full-fledged adventurer. Barl, naturally, shuts that down in record time. Outside, Sharina apologizes again for dragging him into all this mess. Turns out she's been bragging about him non-stop. Barl says he doesn't mind, though he still thinks he's getting way too much praise. Sharina insists he was amazing, and Barl returns the compliment. It's a sweet moment.